out the many attempts to try and do this, I just got a couple phone calls and I'm like, damn it, just as I'm doing this. And I'm like, so I figured, you know what, I'll tell everybody, don't call me. Just let me finish this first off. And yeah, so I thought, let's get into this. I might as well redo it. I'll go back to the beginning. Lie, guys. This will probably be my definitive stream. If this doesn't work, I'm like, okay, I'll do this kind of later. So I figure I'll go all the way back to the beginning and some of my favorite guitar players. Also, you guys comment down below what you guys, who are some of your guys' favorite guitar players. Right off the bat, for me, David Gilmour would be number one. His tone, his just some of the stuff he wrote, some of the solos he wrote are absolutely amazing. But the part to me, I think, with David Gilmour that doesn't get mentioned enough is some of his rhythms are so good that it's interesting to listen to, especially songs like I remember hearing Shine On You Crazy Diamond. I remember hearing from that Wish You Were Here record, and the bookends of it are great. His slide playing is absolutely amazing. Like that lap steel guitar he uses sometimes, it's just really good. Chef's Kiss. Fantastic to listen to. On to the next guitar players I want to talk about, and this is going to be a double for me, is Ken Hensley and Mick Box. Both are very competent guitar players from Uriah Heep. Sad part is I feel like Mick kind of made a mistake never getting a second guitar player for the band after Ken left, because some of those songs had some fantastic slide guitar on it, especially I believe what's the name of it? Weep in Silence is a fantastic song from Uriah Heep, with just both guitar players. But Mick is fantastic. I've seen him live and seeing just him do some of the stuff he does. As I call him, the Wizard of the Wah, the Czar of the Caparelli, which is the name of the guitar company he uses. Just fantastic to listen to. An amazing tone from Mick, especially through the years. Like, he really mastered how to use that wah box really good. Ken Hensley, great organist, but I think the part that really gets overshadowed is just how good of a guitar player he was, especially a slide player. He could play slide with the best of them. Another guitar player I'll talk about is Tony Iommi, the riff master himself of Black Sabbath. And the reason I like Tony is I think there's Sabbath kind of gets thrown into this doom thing a lot, but I think there's a lot of variety to Black Sabbath's riffs with Tony. And there's so much different stuff like Iron Man, Paranoid, War Pigs, songs here and there. He'll always get pretty much are like Black Sabbath staples, like everyone knows those songs. But I think the part that really gets forgotten in there is in between Iron Man, I believe, and Paranoid is Planet Caravan, which is an absolutely beautiful song. Also, Hand of Doom off that album as well is really good. But other songs like Black Sabbath I really like. I love the many different guitar styles used on Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. Sabbath Bloody Sabbath is a fantastic record. And especially that title track, there's parts of that are, especially that ending, is heavy as hell. Great stuff, but man, Tony Iommi is one of those guitar players where it didn't matter what it was. Like I said, he kind of gets thrown in that doom thing, but he also, there was up-tempo, there was acoustic, there was mellow stuff in there, there was also fast-paced. I want to say I heard Computer God, and I'd almost say shredding Tony Iommi. So he's a man of different styles, flair, and I think it's one thing that always kept Black Sabbath kind of fresh. Now, my first attempt at this stream, this is one guitar player I actually want to talk about, but I completely forgot and should have brought him up way earlier, is Stevie Ray Vaughan. is one of those guitar players that I listen to, and even for blues. Like, sometimes I have to be in the mood to listen to blues. Stevie Ray Vaughan, to me, is one of those guys where the blues really became electric fast. He had a style about him. It was like he was playing as fast as he could until his fingers fell off. But he also had a tone that was so really good. Like, he could bend a note and it would just be one of those where it sends shivers down your spine and just go right into your soul and be like, man, this is fantastic to listen to. Uh, and it didn't matter whether it be an electric guitar, an acoustic guitar. There's just some really great stuff in there. Stevie Ray Vaughan, to me, is one of the guitar players that guitar players really appreciate. His tone, man, that guy could use that whammy bar like there's no tomorrow as well. I seen Stevie Ray Vaughan play on a video once, and just the intensity he brought to that performance, and by the end you're just like, holy crap, what did I just witness? Stevie Ray Vaughan, to me, is one of those guitar players that, to me, had a really good catalog of stuff. Like, I really love what is it? Like, he had Pride and Joy. One of my all-time favorite songs is actually an acoustic number by him called Life by the Drop, which is great. It's a fantastic song. Just bluesy, but it's acoustic, and I really enjoy it. Riviera Paradise is another great song. Leave My Little Girl Alone, which I believe is a Buddy Guy cover. Fantastic. Pride and Joy, Texas Flood, Couldn't Stand the Weather. His version of Voodoo Child Slight Return is amazing. Fantastic to listen to. And I think Stevie Ray Vaughan's one of those guys that the more and more people will listen to and really appreciate. He's fantastic. Like, I can't put that over enough, just how much I really enjoy listening to Stevie Ray Vaughan. Like, whether it be some of his... Lenny has to be one of the greatest songs ever recorded. Just from sheer feeling, passion. Like, I remember learning that song. It took me almost a month to learn that whole song. And it's such a beautiful song. I love the chord progression in that. It's just amazing. And also one of the best feel and guitar flurry songs. Like, it's like I didn't know my fingers could move that fast type song. Also, another guitar player, Slash, is a guitar player that I seen live, and I have to say, if there's one guitar player you have to see live, it's Slash. Whether or not you go there and hear Axl's voice, if there's a way, some people would say, to just block out his voice and just watch what Slash does the whole concert. It really is amazing how good his tone is. He's one of those guitar players that it doesn't matter what you want, he can do it. Whether it be acoustic, soft rock, pop rock, hard rock, heavy metal. Slash is one of those guys through the years that I've listened to and really grown to appreciate. I really love his solo record, Rock and Roll. It's a fantastic compilation, many different singers, many different styles, but there's some killer tracks on there. And it's one of those albums that even to this day I still listen to. And a lot of it's the guitar playing. There's some where it's like, I enjoy the guitar, I just don't like the other stuff in the song, like maybe the singing style or something, but I really love the instrumentation on it. That's what, like, Slash is just fantastic. Another one I have to say I quite enjoy a lot is Steve Howe of Yes. He's a guy I've really grown to appreciate through doing a lot of these reactions. He's a guy, the more I listen to, the more I'm like, you know what? I can see, like, I think Steve Howe is a fantastic acoustic player just on his own. But then you add stuff like electric and all these other different guitars, slide guitars. He has written some really good stuff, like whether it be Heart of the Sunrise, which is a song I really enjoy, whether it be, oh man, Turn of the Century has to be one of Yes's best songs. Awaken, uh, anything from Going for the One is really damn good. What else would there be off there? Yeah, like whether it be Sound Chaser had a really great solo in it. Uh, Gates of Delirium, that ending to Gates of Delirium is amazing. Some of the best stuff Yes ever did was on Gates of Delirium, on Relayer. Fantastic. Close to the Edge, Siberian Catrue, and You and I. Even stuff as simple as The Clap, which is kind of ragtime stuff. He's one of those guitar players that I listen to, and watching him, he's never bending. Like, I got used to seeing a lot of guitar players just bend notes. He just plays scales. And he's fantastic at it. He's really good. His rhythm playing is mesmerizing. Like, I could get lost in Steve Howe's rhythm playing just on my own. It's like, holy crap, you wrote some pretty interesting stuff. Starship Trooper, one of the best Yes songs ever recorded. And then lately, I've heard a lot of people say check out like some of the later Yes stuff, because there is some good, really good stuff on there. So I thought, you know what, I'll go check some of that stuff out as well. Another guitar player, Eddie Van Halen. And it's very interesting because you talk to any guitar player from the 1980s, you get three names: Randy Rhoads, George Lynch, or Eddie Van Halen, for who do they want to emulate. And you can see it so much in a lot of those. I hate using the term hair metal because it feels like it's very derogatory. And what is hair metal? Because thrash metal also had big hair. I don't know. But Eddie Van Halen was the guy that influenced an entire generation to pick up a guitar. And different things, tapping, not that it hadn't been invented, I think Eddie made it more mainstream with Eruption. But the part about Van Halen I like, and I'm going to say I really love that stretch from their first album until 1984 with David Lee Roth. The reason why I love that stretch so much is because of what Eddie did there. He was very interesting to listen to. There was different songs. It wasn't just like the hard rock stuff. You also got some really good soft rock. You got some kind of pop rock stuff. You also got different feels. You got different sounds. And also with Eddie, you also got some acoustic numbers. Like on their first record, one of my favorite songs, and I think is one of their biggest hidden gems, is Ice Cream Man. I love that song. It's an acoustic number, most like half of it. And then Eddie comes in. That's a great song. Big Bad Bill is Sweet William Now. Another great song. What's the other one on there? Big Bad Bill is Sweet William Now. Completely different thing, completely different styles. But Van Halen were masters at it. And Eddie had just such a... It's interesting watching him, because you can tell, like, during certain videos he's playing live, just the big smile on his face. You could tell Eddie was having fun. And I think that's one thing that I really enjoy watching a lot of guitar players, is once they're having fun, I really enjoy it. Another guitar player I have to mention on this list, the incomparable Jimmy Page. Jimmy Page is one of the greatest guitar gods, influenced so many generations, whether it be the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, now, Jimmy Page's influence is still felt throughout music. And being with Led Zeppelin, at one time, I would say, one of my top 5 bands. Like, I think over the years it's kind of dropped a little bit, but I still think Jimmy Page is one of the greatest guitar players of all time. Now, coming from being a session guitar player, joining the Yardbirds, getting the new Yardbirds, which morphed into Led Zeppelin, but you get Page, Plant, Bonham, John Paul Jones together, and magic just happened. And for me, Jimmy Page's stretch from that first record until Physical Graffiti, that's pretty much where I know most of it, except for Houses of the Holy. I never quite delved into Houses of the Holy as much as I did the rest of that catalog. And then from Presence kind of on, not so much, which is kind of a shame because I'm like, you know what, I should go back and listen to a lot of these records more. Jimmy Page, whether it be his acoustic numbers, like I love the songs, Ramble On. Living Loving Maid is actually very underrated. I know it gets thrown on with Heartbreaker, but Living Loving Maid's a really good song. Communication Breakdown, I like. What's the other one? Achilles' Last Stand is, I think, one of Zeppelin's better songs. 10 Years Gone is actually one of my favorite Led Zeppelin songs ever done. Like, they're just a fantastic band. And especially to listen to live, like, just really good stuff. And it's Jimmy Page's guitar playing in there that really captivates me, because you could say, well, okay, just rhythm, and listen to just rhythm. It's astounding how good his rhythm playing is, but also his lead is mesmerizing to just listen to. And I'd say if there's any of these guitar players you've never checked out, go check them out, because they are really good. There's stuff I would recommend to almost anybody. And it just works. Another guitar player I want to talk about is a guy I've only heard a few songs from, but I'll say that one. The next guy I want to talk about, Alex Lifeson of Rush. And I know I'm limited to pretty much like 70s and kind of parts of the 80s with Rush. I have to say, though, he's a very interesting guitar player, especially hearing some of the stuff like A Farewell to Kings is a great song. Xanadu, La Villa Strangiadio, even the Necromancer and Fountain of Lament. I love those songs. They're fantastic, they're beautiful, they're gorgeous. They have so much going on, whether it be a Book of Cygnus or whatever that goes from the end of A Farewell to Kings into Hemispheres. That's amazing. Like, Alex Lyson, I have to say, over a while has really gone up my rankings of where I'd put a lot of guitar players. Even his 80s stuff I actually really like. I like how he reinvented his sound. That's something I will say over the years, is how much he reinvented his sound, how good it sounds, how amazing it is. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of great guitar playing going on. It's amazing. Hackett Berglund saying there's a bunch of great guitarists out there. Phil Collins was part of this fusion band Brand X with guitarist John Goodsall, who died November 2021. He was the core and really good. Yeah, I'd have to check them out. I hear Brand X brought up a few times. And they're a band I want to actually check out, because there's some stuff in there. Phil Collins, anything usually Phil Collins is associated with, especially during the 70s, you could probably say is really damn good. Like, there's so much to look at. Yeah, Phil Collins, John Goodsall. I'll definitely be sure to check him out. There's a couple other guys I want to check out. One's Adrian Belew. Paco de Lucia, more Spanish influence. Okay. I'm always up for Spanish guitar. It's a different style, and I have to say I actually really enjoy bits and pieces of it. Like, there's so much I've wanted to go more into. That's very interesting. Jeff Beck. Jeff Beck is amazing. Like, I just got done doing a reaction to a song "Let Me Love You," and him and Rod Stewart together. That would have been a band I would have paid to see live. Is the Jeff Beck group with Rod Stewart and Ronnie Wood. Just legendary. Jeff Beck just had a tone. Steve Vai, heard a few. For the Love of God is still one of my favorite Steve Vai songs. Randomly enough, a song called F Yourself, which is so hilarious listening to lyrically, but the ending has a fantastic solo from Steve Vai. Tender Surrender's another one that I really enjoy by Steve Vai. Just kicks ass. And pretty much to play Frank Zappa, you had to be a pretty damn good musician to do that. Yeah, a few other guitar players that I want to check out is Adrian Belew of the Talking Heads, played with Zappa, played with Robert Fripp, played with David Bowie. Did stuff there, lengthy solo career. So I thought, you know what, let's check out some of his stuff. Also, another guy I want to check out is Alan Holdsworth. I hear a lot of people mention Alan Holdsworth is really good. So I want to check out a lot of his. Gary Moore's another one I would like to check out more from. Yeah, Steve Simmons, who played with Billy Idol. One album that keeps popping up on my Spotify account is Atomic Playboys, Steve Stevens of Billy Idol keeps popping up, and I'm like, you know what? Should this be the day I react to it? And it's just been one of those where I'm like, eventually I'll get to it. It's one of those where it's like, yeah. Jeff Healey, I've heard of him. I know he's Canadian and blind. I believe he was blind as well. But I do know there's a song, I'd have to look it up, that him and Stevie Ray Vaughan did together. But they did a song together, and I thought that would be amazing to listen to. Holdsworth. Also, another guitar player I want to check out more from is ZZ Top's Billy Gibbons. He's always been a guy I've heard the Eliminator album, which I think is a great record for what it is. And I think else, and LaGrange is pretty much played everywhere. That and Tush is pretty much played everywhere. But I thought, you know what, let's go back and look at some of ZZ Top's stuff, because he has a sound and a very bluesy style that I actually kind of like a lot. Just great stuff. Also, another one I really want to mention here, Jimi Hendrix. It's amazing to think how short Jimi Hendrix's run was, but how influential for a lot of guitar players he was. Like, whether it be his albums, or he experienced Axis Bold as Love, Electric Ladyland, his band The Gypsies album. Just fantastic stuff. Like Voodoo Child, Slight Return played everywhere. Purple Haze played everywhere. Even his songs All Along the Watchtower, his cover of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Band, Spanish Castle Magic. Just amazing stuff to listen to. One of my personal favorites, 1983, A Merman of What Should Be, is another fantastic. Voodoo Child, not the Slight Return version, and I think somewhere along the way it got mixed up, but the slow blues version from Electric Ladyland is also really good. Uh, yeah, Hendrix just amazing to me. I love listening to his stuff. He can. It's a shame that I know certain songs, like the only album from him I actually own is Electric Ladyland, and I've heard songs here and there. I love his song Angels or Angel. I love that song. She can cry on me, sweet. It's just amazing to listen to. It's very simple, basic for Jimi Hendrix, but it's so beautiful. One of my favorite songs of all time. Miles Goodwin, he was the founder of April Wine, also a great singer, Canadian band. Yeah, April Wine, I keep hearing about. I've heard songs. The Gypsy Queen. I know that's April Wine. I've heard that song continuously. Other than that, not. I can't really pick out too many April Wine songs. They're a band kind of like Triumph, Helix, a few others that I just want to go back and check out. Uh, Another great Canadian band would be Trooper. I like them. They got a lot of radio play. I think there's people that are probably sick of Trooper, but granted, wrote some killer songs. Raise a Little Hell, Boys in the Bright White Sports Car. Uh, People getting high, people getting low. That one I really like. Oh man, Two for the Show's a killer ballad. Just great stuff. Like I really enjoy I can listen to Trooper. I know there's people out there that say that they're so sick of Trooper. I'm one of the few that can listen to them, not get sick of them. Another guitar player I think that's kind of a little underrated is Robbie Krieger of the Doors. I like a lot of his stuff on those Doors albums, especially guitar wise. It's different. I know he kind of had like a finger picking style, but it is what it is. He had like wrote some really good stuff. I really like Love Me Two Times had a very interesting and guitar parts to Love Me Two Times. LA Woman's fantastic. Roadhouse Blues, really good. Even some of the other stuff they've done. Like I really like the Morrison Hotel record. Peace Frog on there had a great rhythm to it. Morrison Hotel, L.A. Woman, really great stuff. Steve Lukather, I believe of Toto. Is he of Toto? I know Nino Betancourt of Extreme. I've wanted to get into him, haven't quite gotten around to listening to him, but they're a band. They're kind of one of those bands where I look back on and I'm like, you know what? Why I want to get into them right now, and it's like it always seems like something else kind of gets in the way, and it's like, you know what? I gotta take time and actually listen to them. They might be one of my reactions this week, just get it out of the way, see what they sound like. But yeah, there's a lot of those bands out there where it's like I've been meaning to get around to them, just making the time to get around to listening to them. Yeah, that's what a lot of people say. Their album Porno Graffiti is amazing and should be listened to. That'll probably be something from there. Might be the first one I react to from them because they do have a. I want to say, is that album kind of their acoustic album, or is this before that? Because I know there's one song they did. It had kind. I seen it on like one of those. I'm not sure if any of you guys ever seen them. Those Time Life videos where it gives you like a list of songs. It's like the most awesome power ballads of the 1980s and 90s and stuff. And I'm like, okay, I think I might have seen them featured on there. I don't know, say another guitar player I have to say I really enjoy is Steve Hackett of Genesis. And also his solo, some of his solo stuff. Spectral Mornings to me is absolutely fantastic. One of my favorite Steve Hackett songs. That First of Fifth is really good. I think once he had his solo career and he was able to kind of branch out, do his own thing, I think he really hit a good stride there. I like what is it? What's the name of that damn song? On Please Don't Touch, had some great. Oh, what's the name of that song? Hoping Love Will Last from Please Don't Touch. I actually really enjoy that a lot. From Steve Hackett. First of Fifth, a lot of his Genesis stuff. Supper's Ready had some good stuff on there. Some of the stuff on what's the name of that album? Wind and Wuthering, and also Trick of the Tail are mesmerizingly fantastic. And the more and more I listen to Steve Hackett, the more I love his stuff. On Golden Wings, I believe, is also another song of his later on. But there's so much of it I actually want to go back and listen to, especially some of his Genesis revisited stuff where he works with an actual orchestra to perform some of this stuff. And the more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm like, that sounds absolutely fantastic. Especially a song like Supper's Ready or Watchers of the Sky, which is, in my opinion, one of the heaviest songs so far I've heard from Genesis. But man, there's so many. Another song from him, though, I want to check out here pretty soon is Afterglow, the ending to Wind and Wuthering. Would be a great song to really step back and listen to. Hey Jim, what's up? Nice to have you in the chat. Yeah, there's just so many guitar players out there that I'm thinking about. Like another guy I'd have to discover more from is Peter Frampton. Another guy I really love his song Do You Feel Like We Do? Lines on My Face is pretty good. But still, I don't. Baby, I Love Your Way. I love that song. I know it's probably one of the more poppy songs he did, but yeah. Then another one I'd have to check out is I really like Clem Clemson's. At least from what I've heard in Humble Pie, he had a great run there. I really love the song 30 Days in the Hole. Then there was some other one they did. One of my favorite titles to any song I've ever heard, Good Booze and Bad Women by Humble Pie. That was an interesting song. Like I also don't know how many guitar players since the 90s on I would actually put in here as some of my favorite guitar players. Because like I said, my 90s, my 2000s, I want to say about 06, 07, I stopped listening to the radio for a lot of music. So a lot of it in there I might have missed. What was popular was a hit. And there's tons, and then went to stuff like MySpace, Reverb Nation, heard some of that stuff, but none of those people I'd say are in my favorite list. So yeah, it's a pretty interesting idea. As a child of the late 70s, early 80s, I loved Jimmy Page, Richie Blackmore, Eddie Van Halen, and Alex Lyson. Yeah, the only one out of that list I haven't mentioned yet is Richie Blackmore, but that's more because I haven't heard enough of Richie Blackmore, I think, to form an opinion. Because prior to doing the channel, my only knowledge of Richie Blackmore was Highway Star and Smoke on the Water. That was it. Because that's pretty much the two songs that always got played. And now going back listening to some deeper, that's a band I haven't done in a while. I should go back to listen to some Deep Purple. I really love their song April, which I know that was pre Ian Gillan. I really like that song. Soldier of Fortunes, very interesting with Coverdale. I want to check out The Burn. Come Taste the Band with Tommy Bohlen was an absolute awesome album to listen to, with also Glenn Hughes on it. Like that album made me a Tommy Bohlen fan, because prior to that, the only other album by him I heard with Tommy Bohlen on was Zephyr. A couple of their records. I really love their album, their debut, and Going Back to Colorado is amazing. Also, Joe Perry. Yeah, Joe Perry. Really great guitar player. I'm familiar with the hits, like Back in the Saddle, Dream On, Walk This Way, Sweet Emotion, Love in an Elevator, Crying, Crazy, Crying, stuff like that. It's very, very interesting. Just interesting stuff to listen to. But I have to delve a little bit more into them, especially their earlier to mid, pretty much their 70s. I do love their version of, or the original version of Mama Kin, which Guns N' Roses covered. I do like that song quite a bit. Yngwie Malmsteen. Ooh. I like Yngwie. I started doing a discography review. I made it up to Odyssey. I think his early stuff is really good. I think one thing that I've heard a lot of people say about his later stuff is he starts singing, and he also, after a while, it gets very repetitive with Yngwie. But I'm willing to check out the rest of his catalog. Jim Crichton of Canadian band Saga, totally underrated. They're a band also that pops up a lot on my Spotify, and I'm looking to do a reaction to one of their songs. Yeah, just I'm wondering if you give me a suggestion of a song to start with for Saga. That'd be great. Because there's so many bands that pop up on my Spotify that's like, oh, I'll do a reaction to them, but then it's like looking through there, where do I start? I was lucky enough to see Stevie Ray Vaughan's final performance ever. He opened for Eric Clapton. Wow. Yeah, that I have to say that would be very lucky, because could you imagine the poor people that had tickets to his next show? Man, that would have sucked. It's kind of like the poor people that would have tickets to Randy Rhoads' final show, and then the people that had tickets to the next one would have been like, holy crap, I just missed them by one performance. Yeah, Eric Clapton's another guitar player that I really enjoy. Like, from what I've heard, like, I haven't listened to very much of his new stuff. I listened pretty much mainly to his 70s solo output. What else did I listen to from? I didn't listen to Cream very much. Like, I've heard a few songs by Cream. I want to check them out more. Blind Faith, I think I checked out that record. But yeah, it's Eric Clapton's one that fantastic guitar player for his time. I know he did some stuff recently that pissed a lot of people off, but you kind of look at it, Eric Clapton, he's getting up there. Very, very interesting guy, though, like, musically. Alpine Valley, Wisconsin, is an incredible night and found out he died on the drive. Oh, shoot, that would suck. That would suck. Because it's one of those where it's like, oh man, I just seen the guy. Like, what happened? Sega song, I will dig for first reaction. Stand by, be right back. Okay. Man, there's BB King's another guitar player I really like. Different, went across a lot of different eras of music. Some great songs. The Thrill Is Gone, Paying the Cost to Be the Boss. One of my actually favorite BB King songs is actually a song he did with Bono of U2 called When Love Comes to Town, which I didn't know about. I asked my dad once what some of his favorite songs were, and that's one he mentioned, When Love Comes to Town by BB King. Because he wasn't a BB King guy, he wasn't a blues guy, he wasn't a U2 guy either. So it's very interesting that he would pick that song, but he did, and I listened to it, and I'm like, you know what? This is a really killer song. Like, it's one of those partnerships at the time that just worked. $30 later, and still, yeah, it would be a very bittersweet memory. Uh, yeah, For Love Comes to Town is one of those forgotten gems. I'm shocked it doesn't get any radio play because it's one of those songs where you listen to and it's like it has BB King and it has U2. Like, you think, okay, music legends, and you listen to it even today and it stands up actually really well. It's one of those songs that I have to say, out of all of the songs I've heard, really stands up well. And I remember there was a time where I put this song on repeat and it just blew me away with how damn good it was. Like, it's one of those songs that I think I wish more people would go out and really look at, because some might say U2, BB King, what's the big deal? Fantastically well written, and it's one of those that I'm like, you know what? This could be like a wedding song staple. It's really that good. It's one of my favorite songs from that. Oh man, Buddy Guy's another. Uh, Gotta go. Have a great. You too, man. Have a great day. Thanks, Jim, for checking out the stream. Yeah, if anyone else has guitar players that they really love, just put them down below in the comment section. I love chatting music with you guys. It's pretty much like my form of therapy, so. Okay, Saga, don't be late from the 1980 album Silent Night. Might it doesn't show off John Creighton's maybe a bit though, but it's a banger and a great first listen. Okay, I'll definitely check it out from Saga. There's so many great bands from that era that I'm going back looking at and all this stuff. And part of me wants to get into 80s, a little bit into 80s prog, because I know a lot of people hate what their 70s bands did once they hit that era, but I'm willing to give it a shot, see how it sounds. But then seeing bands that started prog in the 80s and how maybe they advanced or progressed throughout the decade. Because I think right now one of my favorites to listen to from that era is Marillion. They have a very unique sound. Singer's unique. Like, that's one thing I like about Fish is his singing style. It's unique, and where you'd think it'd fit on a beat, he's just a little off that beat, just enough where it's not like noticeable, but it works for what Marillion's doing. But man, it's amazing stuff to listen to. Yeah, just some great stuff from great bands. Yeah, once you get into the 90s and 2000s, that's kind of where my music doesn't really go too much into. Sadly, like I said, I don't know why, it's just decades that didn't interest me, but now since doing the channel, it's some of that where it's like, okay, I'd like to check out some of these different ideas, different bands, different things. Yep, Blackmore. Also, another one I want to check out is Blackmore's Night. I know that's kind of his medieval Renaissance type stuff, but that would be interesting stuff, I think, to check out and really figure out what the heck I like. See if there's anything in there I like, because I do like different styles of music. Since starting the channel, I've found myself really getting, I want to say, musically open to a lot more different styles. And I'd say one thing, I'd say my wife helps me a lot with that because she plays a lot of newer stuff, and it's like, okay, some of it I'm like, that's absolute trash. Some of it, it's like, okay, I can get behind this and get behind that. But I also have to say, one band I have to say I really started to listen to and gain appreciation for is Blue Oyster Cult. Never really listened to them. I knew of Don't Fear the Reaper, that was it. Never really listened to a lot more of their stuff. But the more and more I listened to a lot of their stuff, I actually really enjoyed. I really enjoyed Buck Dharma as a guitar player. Like, he's one of those great leads where you're like, okay, I'm watching him play, and it's like, wow, this guy's amazing to listen to. Just completely blew me away the first few times I heard him. There's So is there any other guitar players you guys can think of that you guys really like? If you're watching, don't be shy. Put Put them down in the comment section. That's one thing I'll say about the comment section. They're usually pretty good. To me, there's no wrong answer because we all hear music differently. This is very subjective. It's all what we think at the time, and I've always been one of these people. I'm not going to criticize anyone whether or not they like a guitar player or not. It's really good stuff. I know a lot of people mention. I'd have to go back and listen because I might be one of the few in the world that never did. I never went and listened to Prince, which I know some might find shocking. I think the only song by him, Purple Rain. There's a Swedish band, Electric Boys, the guitarist Connie Bloom. They were popular in the mid-'80s in Sweden. Okay, I'll check them out. Yeah, the 80s. 80s had a lot of really good musicians from Sweden. Like, I know Europe's from Sweden. I know everyone knows them for Final Countdown. But people have told me that's like the most, like if you listen to the albums prior and the albums afterwards, that's kind of like the outlier in their catalog. Which Europe, then John Norum's another band I want to check out. Like I said, maybe some more Yngwie eventually. I love the band Sabaton out of Sweden. I think they're really good. History and Metal. That just feels like a match made in heaven for me. I don't know if they're Swedish or not. Opeth? I believe Opeth is Swedish. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But they're at least from that part of Europe. There's a Swedish band, try Electrified or Groovis Maximus. Yeah, I'll definitely check it out. Sorry if I've been hitting you guys with poll after poll after poll lately. It's more so I just want to know what you guys want to see on the channel. There's just a lot of really great stuff out there, and it's just so much out there, and I have so much on a list that it's like I have to narrow this list down. Like I said, I'm probably gonna think about bringing back 3-song reactions to one band. I did that up until I did Emerson, Lake and Palmer, and then one of those songs was a block song, and I had to figure out which one it was, and it was so much work that I'm like, at the time, I'm like, well, I'm going back to just one song, but I'm at that point where it's like, there's just too many. But there's so many bands I want to check out, and I looked at other reactors, and some of them have songs that'll go months before you see another band. So yeah, and if you guys have any ideas for next live stream topic, just put it down below. I'm always open to hearing new suggestions to stuff, different things. If there's ways you think I can improve, get better, I'm always open to criticism. I'm one of those guys that'll take criticism, I'll hear it, and I'll think of ways to improve it. If I don't know, I'll ask around, figure out how I can do that. Yeah. Yeah, like some bands lately I've been really getting into is these guys, Iron Maiden. wife wife went out one day, bought me the sweater, and it was after I want to say I reacted to The Evil That Men Do, which was my first Maiden reaction. I heard the first couple records with Paul Di'Anno, and also I think first half of Number of the Beast, and then I got sidetracked doing something else, and I never went back to Iron Maiden, which was sadly, I have to say, they're a band now looking back on I really enjoy. Tommy Bohlen, yes, definitely going to be looking at Tommy Bohlen. Which it's great with Tommy Bohlen because he worked with so many different people. Is that even in a 3-song reaction, you could have 3 from 3 different periods of Tommy Bohlen, and it's astounding he did as much as he did in as short a time as he did. Yeah, he has won some. That and I want to say his first solo album, Teaser, I believe it's called. I've checked that out as well, but there's so much left I haven't. Alan Nuggs, you should try some folk guitarists. Bert Jansch, John Renbourn, and Davy Graham. Tristan Renbaum played together in Pentacle, Nothing Like Bob Dylan. Oh, okay. I'll definitely check them out. Folk's another genre I've been wanting to get into. I know I'm pretty late to the party on some of these, but yeah, Bob Dylan's interesting because I've never, like, I can listen to him in small doses. I have to say, I can listen to Bob in small doses. Otherwise, to me, then Bob gets a little bit grainy on me. Like, oh man. I remember as a kid, I went and bought the Essential Bob Dylan, and depending on my mood would depend on what song I'd listen to off the record. I don't think I've ever actually sat down and listened to the whole thing on one continuous loop from Dylan. But yeah, I have to say one of my favorite folk is Judy Sill. I really like her first record, which I thought was really, really well done. Other than that, yeah, I don't think I've reacted to too many folk artists through the years. Or really ever listened to too much folk. Yeah. But yeah, I've thought about going to listen to some Joni Mitchell, maybe some I know Judy Sill has a second album there that I've always wanted to get around to listening to, Heart Food. But there is a lot of them. I want to say some other people I've really wanted to get into is Carly Simon, Linda Ronstadt, Bonnie Tyler's another one. Just get more into different styles, different flair, different things. Like I'm really not picky when it comes to. At least I don't think I'm too picky. I'm just not I've known for a very young age that I am very different when it comes to rap and hip hop. That I know it's not me. There are songs here and there I'm like, okay, I can stomach that for maybe 1 or 2 playthroughs, but it's not like something I'll listen to on a continual loop. Savannah Woman. That would be the song with Phil Collins and Tommy Bohlen. Great song. Like, it's amazing the amount of people Tommy Bohlen worked with. These artists play centuries-old music that predates classical music. Brilliant murder ballad. Is there such a thing? Check out Pentable Going, Broughton Town, and Cruel Sister. Yeah, I'll definitely check it out. It's very much like my wife recently discovered sea shanties. There was some sea shanty song that she liked a lot, and I'm like, yeah. So now that's going to be a thing. I'm just waiting for the sea shanty metal, which it'll be out there and listening to. And yeah, I have to say, I'm willing to listen to anything at least once. So I'll listen to it at least once. Yeah, great song. You know this. Yes, that's because as soon as I looked at whatchamacallit, as soon as I looked at what is it called, the credits to the album, to one album, and I seen Phil Collins, Tommy Bohlen, I'm like, that should be interesting. That's an interesting combination. Because those two guys, you wouldn't think that would have done anything together, but hey, Tommy Bohlen at one point, I think it's kind of like, for as short as he was, and as short as his life was, it seemed like he worked with pretty much everyone. Paul Simon, Bob Dylan, Neil Young are all massive fans of these artists. Yeah, I'll check them out. Paul Simon's another one I've never, ever went into. Bob Dylan a little bit, Neil Young a little bit. Those would be artists that I would, especially Paul Simon, because everyone's like, how have you not listened to Paul Simon? Al Di Meola. Funny you should ask. I was actually about ready to do a poll, and it was between him and who was it? On one of my polls, it was one of the last options I was going to put. It was between him and somebody else, and I went with somebody else. Next poll, I know Al Di Meola will be on it. Now, if he wins, that's a whole nother matter, but I do want to check out some of his work because I've heard a lot of people say that he's really good. Now there's some. Peter Green's another one that I've always wanted to check out, whether it be his solo work or his Fleetwood Mac stuff, and hear how that sounds. A lot of people said he's a great blues guitar player. So I thought, you know what? That might be another guy I check out here pretty soon. Oh, okay. Return to Forever. Listen to the 1976 album Romantic Warrior. Wow. Yeah, I'll have to give them a listen. I've heard of Return to Forever. Never listened to them, so I'll give them a shot. Yeah, there's just so many bands out there, and it's kind of one of the crappy things about having to work for a living is you don't get to stay home all day, listen to all the music you want, and crap. It's like, yeah. Some asked what, like, oh, when, if you could retire, when would you retire? And I said tomorrow. Oh, Mr. Wondrous, Ringo. Mr. Wondrous, what about Ringo? Here's a great title by John Renbourn. Lady Nothing's Toy Puff and Elizabethan Tudor Style. Yeah, I'll definitely check them out. I'm always open to checking out new stuff. Yeah, it's one of those. There's so many bands, so little time to check out. It's like, but yeah, I'll check out. I'm making my way through checking everything out, and this sounds actually something I'd be very interested in listening to. Different, unique, awesome. It's amazing. Stellar musicians: Aldi Miola on guitar, Stanley Clarke on bass, Lenny White on drums, and late Chick Corea on keyboards. Okay, I've heard the name Chick Corea. I've heard that before. Never listened, I think, to anything of his, but I will give it a shot. That sounds like a very interesting band, especially in the prog sphere. I love the way y'all say "you guys." It's jazz fusion. Okay. That's... Yeah, we'll definitely listen to more jazz fusion and stuff. I also really want to get into what's the name of it? The Pat Metheny group is another one I also want to really get into and listen to. Because I heard September 15th by Pat Metheny and Lyle Mays. Man, that song's fantastic. Just beautiful. Just a beautiful song. Yeah, so any more suggestions of stuff I should listen to? Did you listen to Gong Witch's song, I Am Your Pussy? Gong are light-hearted, serious musicians, played with Gong, Mick Taylor, Rolling Stones, Alan Holdsworth, Steve Winwood, Mike Oldfield, etc. No, I haven't. I haven't got around to it yet. I am probably gonna. It's gonna be up sometime this week. I do know that. I've been meaning to get around to that song because it's just the title just grabbed me. So much music, so little time. Mr. Wondrous, Egberto Gismonti, Robert Fripp, John McLaughlin, Jeff Beck, John Williams, Mason Williams, Frank Zappa, Steve Hackett, Al Di Mola, and Paco de Lucia. Okay, it's quite the list. Steve Hackett's amazing. Jeff Beck, I have to say, I heard Let Me Love You by Jeff Beck. Like I said prior, I love listening now to Jeff Beck. I could do that for a while. Just want to check out so much more of his discography and everything he's been a part of because I really like his guitar tone on everything I've heard. Robert Fripp, Evil Mad Scientist. I guess that's the best way to say it. Like it says, guys, I'm gonna have to check out. I work in about 40 minutes, so I gotta get ready for work. So I have to say thank you guys so much for watching. It really does mean a lot. I'm sorry earlier didn't work. Got a couple phone calls in the middle of my streams, and I'm like, damn it. Why do they have to phone while I'm doing these? But it's one of the things that sucks about doing these on your phone. But anyway, I say thank you guys so much for watching. And this is me here signing out. Peace.